Hello YouTube, and welcome to the next flight in our trip around the world in Lockheed Constellation. I'm Captain Mac and I'll be your pilot today, and what you're looking at is a beautifully done rendition of an L049 Lockheed Constellation that was operated by Trans World Airlines around about 1946 and 1947 time frame. We're going to be flying this bad boy all the way around the world, and today's flight's going to take us from Washington Dulles on over to Philadelphia. And we're going to take a look at the flight plan here in just a second. Keep in mind the flight is going to be VOR to VOR navigation. There's no GPS in this aircraft. We won't have access to a GPS of any sort, so we're going to have to do everything via the radios, the course button or the course knob, and the heading hold mode. And we're going to make good use of those. If you're unfamiliar with how to navigate using VORs, please take a look at my basic VOR to VOR navigation tutorial. You can find it located in the tutorial section on my channel, and I will try to remember to stick a link in this video when I post this thing up on YouTube, but I'm not going to make any promises about that because we know I'll probably forget. So that being said, we're pretty much ready to rock and roll here at Washington Dulles International. I am going to hop on over and show you the flight plan here real quick, and then I started this flight early morning because I really want you to get a look at the flight deck lighting on this aircraft. It's really cool. So let's take a quick look at our flight plan over here, and then we'll get this flight going. Okay, quick look at the flight plan here from Washington to Philadelphia. The cruise altitudes, I didn't put it in there. It says 17,000. I don't know that we're going to be going that high because it's not that far of a flight, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, not the point here. We just want to take a real quick look at where we're going and our fuel, of course. We're going to release with 6,500 pounds of fuel. You may recall that I did change this so that the weights are listed in pounds, so I don't have to convert it. Boy, that made life easier, let me tell you. Scroll on down here. We got our alternate airports in there, our ATC route. These are all direct. That's what DCT is, direct to DCA, direct to Baltimore, direct to PPM. And those are our VORs. Remember, in this aircraft, we have to navigate VOR to VOR. There is no GPS in this aircraft. So DCA is the Washington, D.C. VOR at 111.00, Baltimore at 115.10. Phillips Aberdeen is at 108.40. DQO, which is DuPont Wilmington, is 114.0, and then on into Philadelphia International, anticipating runway 27 right, but we'll see what the weather's doing. Other than that, not a whole lot to look at here, and so in the spirit of keeping these videos short, since so many of my other videos are quite long, let's go ahead and hop from here on over to the sim, and let's get this flight started. Alright, we're up inside the aircraft now. Sorry that I have to talk a little loud. I recorded that outside section probably like 5 times, and it seems like everything I try is just really hard to hear me with this aircraft. So I've done everything I can to adjust the volume where you can still hear the engines, but actually be able to hear me. So I'm talking a little bit loud, and I apologize for that, and I'll try not to yell in your ear too much. It's not quite as loud inside the aircraft, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better here. I wanted to show you the flight deck lighting in this aircraft because it's just fantastic. It's really neat lighting, the blue background like that. And I've actually seen just a couple of photos. They're hard to find. A couple of photos of this aircraft lit up at night, and it had blue lighting. That's what it actually had. So that's pretty cool. I really enjoy that. So pretty neat little feature there. And I actually I cranked the time back by about 20 minutes from the first little cut there. So for those of you who are real savvy and notice that it's a little darker out, well, that's what I did. Okay, I cheated a little bit. I really wanted you guys to be able to see the night lighting in this, and it just wasn't showing up as clear as I had hoped. So it is what it is. Let's go ahead and throw our flaps into position here, and there they are. Let's bring in a little bit of trim because we're going to need it to get up in the air. And other than that, I've already got the first VOR tuned in, so we're just going to climb on up out of here. My flight plan tells me that I need to be heading, let me see. Give me just a second here. I'll find it. Where are you? Wow, now this is just embarrassing, isn't it? Looks like we're supposed to be heading 054. Yeah, magnetic true. Nope, 113. That's where we're going. 113 degrees is going to be our first heading. So let's go ahead and crank our heading on over to 113 degrees so that we're ready to turn to that. That was way too far, in case you're wondering. 113 degrees. This thing is uncaged and ready to rock and roll. This thing's ready to go, so we can flip the autopilot on whenever we are ready. So, all that being said, let's hop over, I believe it's this button here. We want to make sure on this aircraft, that's our mixture control. We want it full forward right now. There it is. And that's our prop control, and those are our throttles. So we want prop controls full forward as well. There they are. And then cowl flaps need to be full open for takeoff. And that's as much of a checklist as you get with this aircraft. So we're ready to rock and roll. Let's get this bird in the air. It takes a bit to get this thing moving, I'll tell you what. Hopefully I didn't talk too quiet there, because that's something I've really been having some issues with, is the volume of my voice versus the volume of the aircraft. There we go, now we're moving. And now let's just full throttle this bad boy up right now. And that is the weirdest thing, isn't it? It just goes almost completely silent. So you should be able to hear me just fine now. I have no idea why it does that. It goes so quiet all of a sudden. Anyway, we're already at rotate speed, so we'll go ahead and bring that front wheel up. And up, up, and away. We have a positive rate of climb. Go ahead and bring the landing gear up. Alright, we're looking good. And we're going to turn to 113 degrees, which is going to be to our right. And hopefully I'm not talking too quietly now, because I still want you to be able to hear me, obviously. So let's go ahead and make our right turn here nice and easy. Keep banking it over. It's okay, we're going to lose a little bit of that climb. That's alright. We can lose a little climb. No big deal. Alright, we are picking up our VOR right now, and it's telling us that we're headed from it. So we would just want to turn this until we get a 2 indication and our needle centered there. There's 2 indication, needle centered. It says 118. We want to do it at 113. That's where we're going to fly. So we're going to keep on turning here. And where are we at here? Oh yeah, we're looking good right now. We're just about to... We actually want to turn right, of course, a little bit. Okay, for those of you who haven't seen my tutorial yet, as you can see here, our needle is deflected to the right. So we need to turn further to the right to catch that needle. And if you're wondering how do we figure that out, you just look at our compass right here. This is the heading we set it to on the top. So we want to, it moves the opposite direction, in case you're wondering. So we want to move until this continues on to the right a little bit further. Looking pretty good. Got a little trim in there. I can go ahead and I can bring those prop controls back a little, bring those RPMs down. And we can go ahead and bring those throttles back a little, and it'll probably get loud in here again. Nope, it's silent in here now, isn't it? Wow. Okay, let's try and even those out. We need to go a little further right here. We don't have very far to go on this one, so we want to get on over to that course as quickly as we can. We're not going to go up above 10,000 feet today. We're not flying that far, 130 miles give or take a little bit. We are flying right, of course, at this point, so we're going to go ahead and let this thing fly. I'm going to climb it on up and get it on course. We see our needle move just a little bit there already, so we'll be on course pretty quick. And then I might hop on with you here when we get up to cruise altitude. I might not. We'll see what happens. One way or another, I'm going to see you guys in a few minutes. You'll either see me at cruise or we'll be landing this bird. Hey everybody, as you can see, we are on descent here at this point, and we're just about to the DuPont Wilmington VOR. The reason I hop back in here, I'm still trying to keep this video nice and short, but I wanted to show you something that I didn't show you in my basic VOR to VOR tutorial, and I don't believe I've shown it on here yet either. We've only done one other flight in this series. So what we're going to do here is, as we're coming up on the DuPont Wilmington VOR, we're going to turn from there towards Philadelphia. Now, from where we're at right now, Philadelphia is almost right off our nose, but we need to make an approach towards the south. And we don't have a VOR out here. There's one way up over here somewhere, but that's not going to work for us. We're actually going to turn to a heading of 051 degrees. And what we're going to do is we're going to track outbound from the DuPont Wilmington VOR. We can use the same VOR to track a desired heading going away from it. So as you can see, we're almost on top of it. This deflection is not really because I'm off course, it's because we're so close to the VOR. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I see my little flag right here flip from the to indicator to the from indicator, I'm going to rotate my heading to 051 degrees. That's the heading I want to fly. And then I'll rotate my course knob, my Omni bearing selector knob, to 051, and then we're going to try and center the needle as we're flying away from the VOR this time. So stand by for just a second here, and let's watch for this indicator that it's going to tell us. You can see it's moving a lot now, so we're pretty much right on top of the VOR. So we'll just give it a second here, waiting for it to cross over the VOR. We should get a from indication here shortly. See, it went off. That means we're on top of the VOR right now. Okay, and now we're headed from the VOR. So we're going to rotate to 051 degrees, which is right there. I'm going to go ahead and let it turn, and then I'm going to rotate this to 051 degrees, and watch what's going to happen here. Okay, it's the same as when you're tracking inbound on a VOR. We still follow the needle. So this tells me that I'm left of course from 051, even though that's what I turned my heading to. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my heading a little bit further. I'm going to give it another 10 degrees to start with, until I start seeing movement on that needle. And I'm just going to keep you guys on here for a couple minutes, and hopefully we'll see some movement in that needle pretty quick, even if I have to make a more dramatic turn than I normally would, which I'm going to go ahead and do that, because I just want you to see that you can track outbound on a VOR the same exact way that you track inbound on a VOR. Nothing is different except that we want a from indication rather than a to indication. So we've got our from indication. We didn't have to change the frequency on our nav1, and you can see the needle's already moving. So I'm going to take 10 degrees off of that because we don't want it to move too fast. And in fact, I could probably just make the turn now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all the way to 051 degrees again, and I'm going to try and intercept that outbound radial of 051 degrees from the DuPont Wilmington VOR. And as you can see, we're coming up on 051 degrees now. We're getting pretty close there. We're probably gonna undershoot it just a hair, but that's all right, because now I know where I'm at. I know that my wind's not pushing too hard. I can follow that VOR really easily. So that was the whole point of me hopping on here real quick, just to show you. I'm going to follow this up a little bit further until I have Philadelphia International in sight, and then I'll make a downwind leg. And when I turn to final, we'll hop back on here, and you guys can watch us do the landing. So just a real quick recap of that. If I want to fly outbound on a VOR, because I don't have another VOR up here, there's no VOR on this radial, but this is the radial I want to fly, 051. So I just left it tuned to the DuPont Wilmington VOR, and I rotated, I changed my heading to what I wanted to fly, 051. And then I rotated my Omni bearing selector to 051, and then I centered the needle just like I do when I'm tracking inbound on a VOR. So I hope that helps you guys out, and I'll see you on here in just a couple of minutes when we're ready for landing. Alright, and welcome back. And the wind shifted on me, so I've actually just did a 360 here, and I'm trying to line up for the ILS for runway 09 left, and my heading that I need to get to is 087. I'm trying to shave off a little bit of speed while we're at it. And we're ready to bring it all the way around, and I've gone ahead and tuned in the ILS frequency here just so that you can see this is what we have with the ILS frequency tuned in. So if I change this to 087 degrees, yeah, 087 degrees, let's turn that up. That was a little too far there, getting a little wild with that. 087 degrees. So just like tracking a VOR, I want to follow this needle for my left and right, which I turned a little too far there. That's alright. I want to track this needle for my left and right here, and this tells me whether or not I'm on glide slope. Okay, so I want to follow this needle too. I want this needle centered horizontally and this needle centered vertically, and that tells me that I'm on glide slope. It looks like go ahead and bring in a flap setting here now. That's going to help slow us down a little bit. And I'm just using the autopilot at the moment. I'm about to turn that off. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and take that off right now. There's the autopilot, because I want to hand fly this in, and I'm trying to follow that ILS there. Okay, so you can see we need to start coming down. We need to make this turn to the left here. Alright, let's go ahead and bring the landing gear down. Landing gear's coming down now. Somebody cut down in underneath us. No big surprise there. And we are on glide slope, and maybe we're going to end up just a little bit to the right, of course, here. Not much. We got just a hair low. Doing all right though, looking pretty good. Our speed, we got plenty of speed right now. We don't really need any more speed, that's for sure. We do need to keep that nose up just a little bit so we can get back on glide slope. You can see we're just a little bit underneath it there. I'm looking at this needle right here. I've shown you guys this before. Once it centers up, I want to just keep it centered. That's what I'm trying to do there. Now, of course, I can fly a visual approach. I can see the runway out there in front of me. All right, so it's not that I can't fly a visual approach. It's that I prefer to fly it properly here. I want to make sure that we're actually following the glide slope like we're supposed to be. And this thing, it's a slow beast to turn, let me tell you. And we're looking pretty good there. Now, it looks to me like we're actually a little right of course, and our ILS is telling us that our localizer indicator is telling us that we're a little left of course. Not really sure why that is. We should be flying the ILS 9 left here, so the one to our right is the 9 right, so not really sure what that's all about. We got a little bit high there. Let's go ahead and bring in that next setting of flaps, and hopefully the engine sounds really quiet to me right now, but I might be yelling in your ear just to be sure, so I apologize if it's a little loud. Just want to make sure that you can hear me here. And I think we're pretty much good to go. We'll bring in full flaps here shortly. Landing gear should be down at this point. I'm going to hop outside the aircraft. I know this gets a little loud, but it's very hard to see the the landing gear indicator inside the aircraft. So let's just hop out here for a second. And sure enough, yep, we're good to go. Our landing gear is down. Flaps have one more position. Bring those all the way in now. That's going to help slow us down a little more. We want to be nice and slow when we land. We are a little bit high. If you've flown with me before, you know that is par for the course. For me, I am always a little high. It's the weirdest thing. I think I'm just scared of the ground. You know, to me, an airplane belongs in the air. So when an airplane's close to the ground, it freaks me out a little bit. So bring some throttle back in there, not too much, just a little bit. Try and keep those nice and even. And now, see, we're just about where we want to be now. So just bring the nose up a little. And I'm not doing a lot with the trim here, mostly just a little bit of throttle and using the yoke to fly the aircraft. And as you can see, if you look at our indicator down here, our ILS indicator, we are a little high still, and it still says that we're left of course. Now, we've got a clean visual approach at this point, so what that tells me is that either the approach is intended to be an offset, and I don't have the actual chart in front of me. So either the approach is supposed to be an offset approach, which I doubt, or FSX has the ILS lined up improperly, and that's the more likely case there. FSX probably has the ILS localizer lined up improperly for this runway here. So that's why it's telling us we're a little left of course when we can clearly see. I mean, yeah, I guess we're a tiny bit left here, but we can clearly see we're not that far left of course there. And as I center back up here, that needle's not even moving. So looking really good here. Gonna bring the throttles back a little bit more, and she wants to dive a little when we do that, and that's all right. And let's bring this bird on down to the ground nice and smooth. Oh, there's that yoke again. Oh, come on. Oh my God, you see that? That's that stupid. Look, it's still doing it. It's still doing it. Oh, what an embarrassment. What a ridiculous embarrassment that was. Look at that. I mean, what is that? What is that? What a... Oh, my goodness. I'm mad. I want to start cursing right now. I'm really mad. That's ridiculous. Everything was just fine. Everything was looking great. And then the stupid thing just... And nothing... I had full right yoke and full right rudder on that thing. And what did it do? It just kept diving to the left. Does anybody know what causes that? Because it's driving me batty. I've got a registered version of FSUI PC. I've calibrated my yoke in there. I mean, that's just... Man. Oh, and I'm not going to redo it. I'm going to post that, guys, so you're looking at what just really happened. I mean, unless I'm just an idiot and I like to yank the yoke to one side. I mean, you saw everything looked great. It was a good approach. There was no aircraft in front of me. Everything was fine right up until the last 50 feet or so, and nothing I did would let the, you saw I went full throttle. I tried to do a go-around. I pulled back on the yoke and tried to do a go-around. Nothing. It just kept diving to the left and slammed into the ground. And then when it slammed into the ground, it bounced so hard that we started to take off again. And I didn't want to do it. I mean, what's the point? We already killed everybody on board. They're all dead. Everybody's dead. Everybody's dead now. I hope you're happy, you stupid yoke. I blame the yoke, folks. I do. If anybody really, seriously, if anybody knows what might be causing that, please, please, for the sake of my sanity, put some down in the comments. Or if you're really feeling friendly, maybe somebody wants to buy me a new yoke. Maybe. Anybody? Any takers? Come on, one taker. One. Just one. Nobody. Nothing. Crickets. Alright, guys. Well, other than that absolutely horrendous nightmare of a landing, thanks to whatever glitch caused that, and I still have no, I mean, look, the thing's twitching right now. It's sitting perfectly still. I'm not touching it, and it's just twitching. I don't know. I really don't know, guys. I have a null zone in there and everything. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and yak about it. I'm sure you probably don't feel sorry for me. I'm sure we've all dealt with it. So that's it. I'm going to hop outside of the aircraft, back off from it a little bit here, and that is going to wrap up this video. Other than that landing, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'm glad I got an opportunity to show you the way you track outbound from a VOR. We're going to go ahead and put this aircraft into maintenance, and investigation is underway to determine the cause of all those poor souls. And I guess once we get all that hashed out, we'll move on and we'll get a new aircraft for our flight from Philadelphia here on to our next destination in our around the world flight in the Lockheed Constellation. In the meantime, I do hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I enjoyed it right up until that last moment there. Please subscribe to my channel. The more the merrier. I love having you guys on board. I love making these videos. If you have any suggestions for this video or for future videos or series, please let me know down in the comments and give me a thumbs up and let me know that let me know you care. Yeah. Alright, guys, that's probably really loud to you right now, so I'm gonna just kind of continue to back off here and peel away, and I will see you guys on our next flight. Have a great day.